So I'd like to introduce you to, technically it says Oscar 4437, but it's intergeneric Russian name here. Brand new account. This is what I don't like about Gaijin's UI. Favorite mode is arcade air battles, yet all he plays is realistic. So clearly that doesn't work. Another bug from the stupid UI that they changed that nobody asked for. This is a continuation of researching the last video I did, which is these guys from WOI with their literal slogan is "No cheating, we all pro." It's a training squadron, and of course they have records like this. Now, granted, even though they have blatant cheating records, spending upper in the range of $250 on all this stuff, they aren't very good. So this is the proven concept of, even though cheaters will be extremely blatant in a lot of their games that they play, they're not very good at playing the way that they play. And just as a reference point, if you missed the last video, this is the squadron in question. Training Squadron, Chinese Squadron, and I'm currently on the second person right here, is what I just chose at random, and we're going to go through. Now, he hasn't played at all the last couple days. However, you can see he's still, active in the game. So this is what I'm dealing with a lot of these players. This is what I've discovered, at least in the last patch. It's the same, like, 1,000 cheaters that, probably get banned every wave. Now, granted, like we looked at the last guy, is that he hadn't been banned in 1,500 battles. Gaijin still has not banned him, because that's viable and that's reasonable to allow, and also that looks totally legit. Yeah. Jesus. That's crazy. I don't really have any words for this, because just watching these makes me want to throw up a little bit in my mouth, because it's just a proven concept that Gaijin banned, what, 23,000 players recently, and only like 1,000 of them were actual cheaters. It's a bit sad when you think about that, because yes, it is good for them to ban toxic players. Apparently, one person of that entire list that was TKing got permabanned for TKing, which is actually pretty impressive. I was expecting it to be like a lot more than that, considering how many times I see people TKing nuke players and just stuff like that. But yeah, I find it incredibly ironic that they only banned, like 1,000-ish actual cheaters, and the rest were all, toxic a-holes that TK. Yeah, it does really bring home a point that it is, Gaijin is prioritizing more about TKers than not, but I don't buy their excuse that all those bans were automated, because apparently if you TK a squad mate, so if you know this in the game, if you TK a squad mate that you're actually squatted with, so not like your random guy, so say you get squatted with, so say he's squatted with this guy up here. If you're randomly squatted with a guy and you TK him, you get charged like SL for it. But if you're in a group of people, like if you all squat up together and you TK them, you don't get charged for it, because you know the people in the group. But apparently if you TK them just for, giggles at the end of a match, which I do every now and then because we are all funny, and we do it after the match ends, because it doesn't affect you after the match ends, apparently that counts against you. But I find that stupid, because I do that a lot with friends just because we're all goofing around, and yet I never got temp banned for it. I had a friend of mine who got a 1-week ban for, what did he get? He got a 1-week ban for TKing a nuke player. He deserved it, very much so. But I just find it incredibly ironic that Gaijin is like way banning people, and he dies again, thank God. Gaijin is full-on banning people for like TKing, which, like I said, I'm all for banning toxic people, but you should mainly prioritize cheaters, which are exploiting your game files, abusing like major problems with the game, and actually doing the wrong thing in your game, and yet and apparently you have some sort of automated system that bans the cheaters for these reports, and yet you do not investigate these blatant cheaters that are doing this across the map, and you still can't detect this. Like, that's what I don't get. Like, you can't detect something like this, where you're looking across the map and shooting at 2.5 kilometers. But, no, you can detect all the people that are TKing and stuff like that, because that's just easier, right? Which it is in reality. If you see someone, so if you see red on red violence in the chat or blue on blue violence in the chat, you're gonna ban them because that's easier to detect. It just shows the lack of care when it comes to actually having a proper anti-cheat and actually having a proper security team. So your security team, instead of focusing on cheaters this month, foregoed the people that were obvious cheaters. Like, I guarantee the 1,000 or so people that got banned were, like, obvious people that were exploiting the system or testing their cheats, so it was, like, level 0 accounts that, you know, got banned. I guarantee if I looked at a random name on the list, it would be, like, a level 3 that got banned because of, you know, oh, they were exploiting their software, testing what worked and didn't, and then got banned. And then Gaijin just banned them because that's how the system works. That's how it should work. However, they can't detect people shooting through multiple lines of trees, which should be fairly obvious from anyone that has a brain to figure out that, oh, that person is potentially being a problem, we should probably investigate to ban them. But no, we rely on an anti-cheat that is so arbitrarily bad that we still can't figure out how to make it work for us. And yet we have promoted BattleEye, and yet BattleEye is still in the game files and hasn't done anything, which probably means that Gaijin didn't want to fork up the actual money for the license for BattleEye, which, ironically enough, is the one way you would make it work, but I guess you didn't want to fork up the money for it, even though you probably made, oh, I don't know. Last time I saw a reported estimate that they made somewhere in the range of like $220 million in a single year, but that's not a confirmed actual amount, but it wouldn't surprise me if they made that much money, and yet we still have servers that crash like every patch. So I'm going to leave this here. As always, if you have a personal question you want to leave to me, please try to follow the pinned comment below. And as always, I hope you have a good rest of your morning, day, and your night. And have a good one.